Would you look at that? We have some major news incoming from one of the biggest AAA studios in Japan, maybe coming to Xbox to make an exclusive game with publishing rights. That's right, we're talking about Platinum Games. Now, I know a lot of people know about them. I know a lot of people think about Scalebound instantly when they think of Xbox and Platinum, but we're going to get into everything that's going on because they apparently approached Xbox for a brand new AAA game. Let's get into everything that's being said and if this might actually happen. Let's do this. Alright, so you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button and that like button, and if you want to be notified on future videos, hit that small little bell icon, and if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. All the support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so we're going to jump right into this. Last week, Platinum Games was reportedly leaked that they approached Xbox for a new game and a new funding for this game, while Xbox gets publishing rights and development rights on this new IP that they're working on. Now, a lot of people instantly had bad reactions. They were like, I don't know, man, let's not go back to Scalebound and see what happens with all that happened and them basically taking Xbox's money for 4 straight years. Yet over the last several months, if not the last year and a half to 2 years, Xbox has been very focused on getting a lot of Japanese studios to just make games for the Xbox platform. At the end of E3, they had Team Ninja bring out their new game right there, the Dynasty game that's coming out that looks insane, and it's going to be dropping on Game Pass day and date. And then you look at Persona 5 and all the Persona games coming, not to mention all these other games like Scarlet Nexus and Nier Automata. Xbox has been hard at work to build that relationship and build bridges towards the Japanese studios so they can make their games on that platform. And one of the best developers in Japan is Platinum Games. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but they bring out some highly rated games, some well-made games, and some games that people consider a cult classic. I'm going to bring some examples to this. Here's what the article has to say and examples of games that they've made, and also games that might not have hit that well. Platinum Games allegedly approached Xbox to publish its next game. Sources claim that Platinum Games, the developer of Bayonetta 3 and the cancelled Scalebound title, has reached out to Xbox for its next publishing deal. Though the studio has produced a whole slew of cult classics such as Vanquish, Bayonetta, and Nier Automata, not all of Platinum Games' output is widely revered. Its biggest plunder was perhaps the cancellation of Scalebound, an action RPG that was supposed to be one of Xbox One's biggest and most anticipated exclusives, only to never properly get off the ground. Even though Platinum Games couldn't bring Scalebound to fruition, the studio may be attempting to kick off another collaboration with Xbox if the latest leaks are true. Namely, sources are now claiming that Platinum Games has approached Xbox for funding and publishing rights, suggesting that the team might have an idea for an impressive project down the line. Alright, let's break all of that down. The first thing I need to bring up is the history that Platinum has. Yes, they brought out Vanquish. If you played it on the Xbox 360, you know that game is insane. As someone that has played it and beaten that game, and I also own it on PC, I have to say, it's a lot of fun. It's over the top, there's great action, it's fast paced, you're sliding around, you're shooting a bunch of enemies, and it's just what Platinum Games does. Over the top action, that's a lot of fun. Same with Bayonetta. A lot of people love this game. I haven't had the chance to play it. I do own it on Steam, but again, it's an over-the-top action, crazy cool mechanics, and that's what they do. That's exactly how they make their games. And lately, they have been focusing on Nintendo. They just brought out a game called Astral Chain, which was extremely highly rated, and people loved it. It's one of the best games on Switch, or one of the highest rated games on Switch, yet people tend to gravitate towards that. So overall, what happened with Platinum and Xbox? Well, there's a lot of stuff behind that, and there's a lot of history behind it. One of them is that the Xbox One was just not ready to make a game like Scalebound, and Platinum just couldn't do it. Not to mention, it was a multiplayer co-op game. You could have 4 people on there with 4 dragons, 4 characters, going throughout the whole big open world, fighting a bunch of NPCs, and doing this with all the graphics entail. As you can see in this clip here, it was a very demanding game, and I just don't think that the Xbox One and Platinum Games was able to handle this. Not to mention, Xbox wasn't in the best state back in 2013. So that's what I think is important, and it's important to point out what happened. But let's get into where this leak came from, because that's a big thing, where this rumor comes from, and if it's anything that we can be talking about. Here's what's said in the article. It's important to point out that while this information is yet to be confirmed in any official capacity, the leak is coming from the same person who leaked information about Hideo Kojima's Project Overdose. Naturally, This doesn't outright confirm whether the info is true, but it does give it a bit more credence than it otherwise would have had. The source also said that they hadn't heard whether Xbox accepted Platinum's proposal or not, but if they did, it's possible that an official announcement could be coming in relatively short order. Now, that's something I want to jump into. I understand that people think that Xbox shouldn't work with Platinum Games, and as someone that has seen the Scalebound fallout and how Xbox basically took every single punch to the chin on that, you can tell that Xbox is just trying to repair relationships with every developer out there. From 2013 and all those other games that got canceled, I feel like a new regime has taken over at Xbox. Even though Phil Spencer was there since the beginning, he still kind of revamped their attitude towards certain developers, and Platinum Games is one of those. There has been no animosity, no hate going towards between Xbox and Platinum Games, and in fact, Phil Spencer voiced that when he said this. Phil Spencer voiced his respect for Platinum Games after Scalebound's cancellation, saying that there's no animosity between Xbox and Platinum. While it's unlikely that Spencer would have been setting the stage for Platinum to have another go at producing an Xbox exclusive at that time, it is possible that he was deliberately leaving the option on the table. To that end, it's entirely possible that Platinum Games would want to try and resolve the Scalebound situation once and for all should the opportunity arise. On that note, the history of Scalebound's development goes further back than most might imagine. The concept for Platinum's Dragon Riding title was drawn up way back in 2007, only to enter active development in 2013. This means the game was in production for almost 4 years before Xbox killed the project. So it's not entirely impossible that Platinum might be hoping to restart Scalebound in some capacity. And this is where I think people need to take a step back and just kind of chill out. I don't think Platinum Games is trying to make Scalebound again. I think that's done. Every time an Xbox executive, especially Phil Spencer, gets a question about Scalebound, people just kind of get irritated because the game is gone. It's not going to happen. I know there's a lot of assets out there, and I'm sure they have some stuff that they can pick up and where they left off, but overall, Scalebound is done. I don't think Xbox wants that game. I don't think a lot of people want that game. I think Xbox would want something different, something that they can concentrate on at what they're good at, which is single-player focused games. That's what Platinum Games thrives on. They thrive on single-player games. Don't try to make it co-op. Don't try to make it multiplayer. Don't try to be the experiment, Xbox. Xbox shouldn't go to Platinum Games and be like, hey, you want to make your first ever co-op or online game and blah, blah, blah? No, you don't want them doing that. You want them to concentrate at what they're good at, which is providing single-player experiences for people to enjoy. Do I enjoy their storylines? Nah, not really. I just play the game. I have a lot of fun. Vanquish was a lot of fun. You go around shooting stuff, and it's just a lot of action. That's what they thrive at. That's what they do very well. And that's what happened with Astral Chain. A lot of people enjoyed that game because the mechanics behind it was solid. The combat was solid. I'm sure some people enjoyed the storyline on all their games, but overall, I'm there for the action and the over-the-top action in my game. That's what they need to be focusing on. And that's what this article talks about when they close out the whole idea. Whatever the case may be, it's always worth considering leaks such as these with a handful of salt at hand. Platinum Games is currently working on Bayonetta 3 for Nintendo Switch, and the studio is likely currently focused on making that game as good as it can possibly get. What the next step might be for Platinum after Bayonetta 3 is out, however, is anyone's guess at this point in time, and it very well could be that the studio ends up joining forces with Xbox once more. Now, I know most people might just flip their desks over and get all mad that Xbox might be working with them again because of the bad blood that happened with Scalebound, but overall, I think this can actually happen. Do I see it happening or being announced anytime soon? No, I don't think so. I think Xbox is not announcing any third-party deals for a very long time. I mean, look at all the deals they had with a bunch of their games like Dark Tide and all these other games. They needed to see proof of concept, everything being done before they showed it. And that's what they're going to be doing. Even games like High on Life that are multi-platform, they still didn't announce it until about 4 months before release. And Xbox and all their games like Contraband, if you look at Avalanche Studios, is having development trouble according to certain rumors. So Xbox announced this game, didn't show it a year later, and now we know nothing about it and we're still waiting. I think Xbox understands how to work with third-party studios. One, they can't control them. All they can do is fund them and trust their leadership to get stuff done, and then they gotta keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening in that development cycle. Something that they'll do with Platinum Games if they sign a deal with them. They'll let them work, they'll fund money to them, and over the next 2 years, they'll see if anything is being done. And after 2 years, if they see that the game is getting close to being finished within a year or two, that's when they'll show us this game. So if Platinum Games does sign a deal with Xbox, or any other third-party studio signs a deal with Xbox, it's going to be several years before we even see it, before we even hear about it, or before we even see a trailer of it at E3, because Xbox has a lot of studios, especially if the Activision Blizzard deal gets signed next year or at the end of this year. They're going to have studios to just kind of stack upon each other. They're not going to be relying on this third-party deals and third-party games to show what they have for that generation, much like they had in 2013 with Scalebound. They were kind of banking on it. They were kind of banking on Crackdown 3 to be these games to fill out their voids. But after being canceled, after studios being shut down, and after games getting canceled, you can see that the Xbox One suffered because of that. They're not trying to do the same thing with the Xbox Series X generation, and I think that 2022 might be the worst year in Xbox's first-party exclusives, and I think it's because of the pandemic that's happening. But overall, in 2023 or next year, if Xbox isn't dropping games basically every 3 months, there's going to be a problem there, and I think they need to sign some more third-party deals for seeing how long development cycles are taking on games. Platinum Games might be it, other third-party games might be it. Either way, I'm excited to see what it is, because Platinum does make pretty good single-player games, and I think that Xbox can get in there with the Japanese studios, and one of the best ones and biggest ones and most popular ones in Japan. So let's hope we see this deal signed. Let's hope we get more details as the years go by, but overall, I'm excited to see what this is all about. But let me know what you think about this. Are you excited to see Platinum Games working with Xbox again? Do you think they can actually revive Scalebound? Or do you think that game is dead and gone? Do you think they're working on a new IP that they could bring over, something like Astral Chain, or something different that they have an idea of? Do you hope that Xbox does sign them and then keeps a close eye on them with a short leash so they can get a game out in about 3 to 4 years? Or do you think they're going to be working on Bayonetta 3 and keep their relationship with Nintendo that much stronger? Let me know what you think down below. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button to support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been playing a lot of games. I've been jumping into StarCraft. I beat the Zerg campaign, I beat the Terran campaign, and I've also beaten the Protoss campaign. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. Trust me, I've beaten it probably like 8 times, and this is probably like my 9th or 10th time I'm beating it, so I'm having fun with that. I'm also jumping into Warcraft Reforged, and of course World of Warcraft. But then on my Xbox, I've been jumping into As Dusk Falls. I know, kind of weird. I talked a lot of crap about this game, but man, is it really well done. The story is a lot of fun. It's very engaging, and it's not the best game where you're very interactive with it and you're doing a lot of cool moves. It's more of a point and click. You just make decisions, you go down, and every branch branches out to new storylines, and trust me, it's a lot of fun. I recommend people check it out. I'm having a good time with it. I'm about 7 hours in. I'm on the last chapter, so it's about an 8 to 10 hour game, but so far I'm enjoying it for how good the story is. And I've talked to other people around that are playing it, and their stories are far different than mine. So yeah, I recommend everybody check it out. It's really cool and might have some good replayability. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your Xbox, your PlayStation 5, or are you on your PC playing something? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. It's talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.